What a wonderful question. How is definition of done defined? Why does it matter? You'll often hear people say the definition of done is a checklist. And it often appears as a checklist. But that's not what it is. In the latest Scrum guide, 2020 guide, it has been moved to be the commitment to the increment. So we're talking about the quality of the increment. Okay. And it's what the team, the Scrum team as a whole, but particularly the developers, are saying is the minimum bar for the quality of their working product. So at the end of a product backlog item being completed, it's got to done. It meets the definition of done. And what they're doing there is making it very clear to everybody what the state of play is. Right? Ideally, it's something that can be given straight away to a customer. Maybe it's in production in the software world, or sat in a staging environment and a single click and it'll be there. Okay. For some teams that's not possible, so we just want to make it very transparent where we are. So we're at this state. Okay, there is other stuff to do, but we're being open and honest and saying we're here. Okay. That way stakeholders can be very clear that when they see something, they know there's other work to do. Okay. We're not hiding things from anybody that's interested. Okay. And that is often where it ends. But for me, it's so much more. Okay. What you can do is then take that into product backlog refinement. Take your definition of done. It's a list of things to consider by the team when they're thinking about the work involved. Have you thought about the documentation? Have you thought of the different standards that you have to meet? Have you thought about user research? Have you thought about how you're going to test this? All of these things matter, but they're not necessarily considered when you're thinking about how do I solve this problem. So for me, it becomes a really useful thing for the Scrum team itself to consider its work. It's making visible, transparent, the work that they need to do when they're estimating. And again, in sprint planning, it can be back to be looked at and say, well, how do we solve this problem? Well, we solve it like this. Is there other things that we need to do as well? Well, we need to do that in documentation. We need to think about management information. We need to think about reporting. All of the things that are not about solving the problem right in front of you, but about creating a product that is of professional quality. So the definition of done becomes a linchpin in the whole process. It's about raising the transparency. In fact, in the old Scrum guide, it was listed under artifact transparency. It was about helping people understand the state of play of all of the artifacts, the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment, which I do like and I still talk to, because it helps people understand it's not something that you just write out and stick in a drawer. It's not something that you write out and roll out at the end of the sprint and check and go, yeah, it's a living, breathing part of your team. It's there, it's present, it's something to use every day. Right? To think, are we truly done with this? So the definition of done, is it a checklist? Maybe. Many of the ones that I've worked with have been lists to think about and consider, but it's not just a checklist. You want to take it into different meetings and use it to help you understand what the work is and the quality that work needs to achieve. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.